Good morning. This is Mohammad Suleiman, Assistant Professor of Commerce, working at MBS Government Degree College, Autonomous, Mahbub Nagar. Today, let us learn about voluntary winding up of a company. As all of us know, that winding up is a process of putting an end to the life of the company, and winding up can happen in two ways. One is compulsory winding up, and second one is voluntary winding up. So voluntary winding up is different from the process of compulsory winding up. Therefore, today let us learn about the process of voluntary winding up and various important essentials of a voluntary winding up. So let us see the lesson plan. So the objectives of today's lesson are: we'll be learning about introduction to the topic, and then we will be learning about the meaning of voluntary winding up. Then we will see consequences of voluntary winding up. Then we will learn types of voluntary winding up, and we will see a detailed information on members voluntary winding up and creditors voluntary winding up, and later on we will see difference between members voluntary winding up and creditors voluntary winding up. Finally, we will learn about how liquidators are appointed in voluntary winding up. So let us move fast and see all these topics one by one. So as mentioned earlier, winding up of a company is a process of putting an end to the life of a company. So with the commencement of winding up process of a company, the activities in the company are stopped and the life of the company is put to an end. So in other terms, it is a process in which a company is dissolved and its assets are realized, that is collected, and its debts are paid off. Therefore, winding up can happen in two types, that is one compulsory winding up and the other one voluntary winding up. So today let us learn a detailed procedure of voluntary winding up. So when we see the meaning of voluntary winding up, so voluntary winding up is winding up by the members or creditors of a company without interference by the tribunal. So in the process of compulsory winding up, interference of tribunal will be there. Tribunal will monitor all the activities of winding up of the company and appoint one official liquidator who will act according to the directions of the tribunal and will realize the assets of the company and makes payment according to the priority of debts, which is totally different. Here, voluntary winding up is taken up by the members or creditors of a company without the interference by the tribunal. So there is no interference by the tribunal here. Tribunal will not interfere, and members or creditors only will oversee the process of voluntary winding up. So the creditors of the company are left to settle their affairs without going to tribunal. So in case the process is initiated by the creditors of the company are left to settle the affairs without going to the tribunal. So from the point of view of a company, a voluntary winding up has more advantages over compulsory winding up. and a lot of formalities are required to be followed in case of compulsory winding up. Now we may have a question as to why a voluntary winding up of company may be required. So the voluntary winding up of a company may be required when the period fixed by the articles for the duration of the company, that is the articles stating the duration of the company, has expired, or happening of some event upon which the company is to be wound up. So if it is written in the articles of the company that upon completion of certain period of time, say for example 30 years or 50 years, or after completion of 50 years, the company shall be voluntarily closed, or the company shall be voluntarily wound up. So in such clause, the company may be wound up voluntarily as it is fixed by the articles of the company, or in some situations occurrence of some event may demand voluntary winding up of the company. Say for example selling of land. If selling of land happens, then the company may be wound up. Or if the sales amount to a particular figure which is a benchmark decided by the articles of the company, then in such a case the company may be required to be wound up voluntarily. So if such things are written in the articles, a company may pass an ordinary resolution in the general meeting demanding or stating for the voluntarily winding up of the company. And sometimes it may happen that for any cause as decided by the company, a special resolution is passed to wind up the company voluntarily. Then in such a case also the company may be wound up voluntarily according to section 304 of the Companies Act. So in this case the company may be wound up through a special resolution even if it is doing well. Even if the sales are good, the profitability of the company is also good, and the leverage and the current ratio, debt equity, if everything is okay, even though the company may be wound up with a special resolution. So a resolution for voluntary winding up must be advertised properly in the official gazette normally, and also in some local and national newspapers circulating in the area or district where the registered office of the company is located within 14 days of passing the resolution for voluntary winding up. So a voluntary winding up commences normally from the date of passing of the resolution. Therefore, voluntary winding up is nothing but winding up of the company by the members or the creditors of a company without interference by the tribunal. So once the voluntary winding up of the company is taken up, there may be some consequences of voluntary winding up. As mentioned earlier, the voluntary winding up of the company is supposed to commence from the date of passing the resolution for voluntary winding up of the company. So there are many consequences of voluntary winding up of the company. So there are many consequences that may arise in case of voluntary winding up of the company. First and foremost consequence that may arise is it is going to affect the status of the company. So in case of voluntary winding up, the company ceases to carry on the business from the date of commencement of winding up. That is, once a resolution is passed for winding up the company voluntarily, the company ceases to carry on its business. However, the corporate status and corporate powers of the company will continue until it is dissolved. So, a voluntary winding up may not necessarily operate as a notice of removal or dismissal of all the employees in the company, but there may be some changes which will affect the employability status of the employees in the company. And it is sure and ascertained that the company will be no longer into business, or it will no longer carry on its business. Therefore, all the necessary contracts and the claims that are supposed to be paid by the company or fulfilled by the company shall be completed. Therefore, the first and foremost consequence of voluntary winding up of a company is the effect on the status of the company. Then second consequence is board's power to seize on appointment of liquidator. So as all of us know, liquidator is a person or a firm who has some experience in the company related matters for at least 10 years. And the person who has put such experience will be appointed as liquidator, who will oversee the process of liquidating the firm by realizing the assets and paying the debts. So once the liquidator is appointed, the powers of the board of directors, the managing director, and the manager, if any, shall cease except for the purpose of giving notice to the registrar of the company regarding the appointment of liquidator. So it is clear that appointment of liquidator will seize the powers of board of directors except for the purpose of convening some meetings to discuss the matters relating to winding up, or the meetings of committee of inspection to convene such meetings. And if there are no such meetings, the status of the board of directors shall be nominal, and it is the liquidator who will take charge of all the activities and who will act for the company in order to see the proceedings of winding up of the company. Therefore, the second consequence is the board of directors' power will cease. And third one is avoidance of transfer of shares after commencement of winding up. So this is the biggest consequence on part of the shareholders, that is investors. So in case of voluntary winding up, any transfer of shares in the company not being a transfer made to or with the sanction of liquidator, and in case of any alteration, the status of members of the company can be made after the commencement of winding up is stated to be void. Therefore, the transfer of shares is avoided so as to ensure that there is no change in ownership after the commencement of winding up process. Therefore, avoidance of transfer of shares is also one consequence. Then one more consequence is discharge of employees. So a resolution to wind up voluntarily operates as notice of discharge to the employees of the company. But in some cases, this is not applicable. This is an exception where the liquidation of the company is happening only for the purpose of reconstructing the company. That is, the reconstruction process is taken up in order to see that the company is functioning efficiently and effectively after being reconstructed. So in such a case, the discharge of employees may not be possible in toto, and few companies may be reduced. Sometimes it is possible, but discharge of all employees is not done. And sometimes when the business is continued by the liquidator for the beneficial of winding up process of the company. So in such a case, the employees are not discharged suddenly or even after the passing of the resolution for voluntary winding up. Therefore, it may be noted that employees have a right to claim damages in case of premature termination from their job. So in case of premature termination from their job, they may claim damages also. Sometimes we see that employee unions working all together will fight for the rights in case of any dispute with the management. So the industrial relations between the employed and employees are supposed to be good, but there is an agreement between the employees and employer, or the management and the workers, which is applicable to both the employees and the management. So in case of discharge or retrenchment of employees, a proper notice is to be given. Say for example 3 months notice or 2 months notice is given for the purpose of discharge of employees. Therefore, a premature termination of the services of the employees may not be possible, but however, voluntary winding up as the company life is put to an end, therefore the employees are supposed to be discharged. Therefore, the consequence of voluntary winding up is also on the employees, that is, they are going to lose their jobs. So on a total basis, we can understand that consequences are on the company or the entity of the company, then on the board of directors, then on the shareholders, that is investors, and on the employees also. So after knowing the consequences of voluntary winding up, let us move further and see the types of voluntary winding up. So there are two types of voluntary winding up of the company. One is voluntary winding up by the members, and the second one is voluntary winding up by the creditors. So these two are different. So members voluntary winding up is totally different from creditors voluntary winding up. So let us see these two types of winding up one by one. So first of all, let us see the members voluntary winding up. So members can take up the process of winding up of the company, and it can take place only when the company is solvent. When the company is in a position to clear all its dues, then only members voluntary winding up is possible. So it can take place only when the company is solvent, and it is initiated by the members of the company and is completely managed by them. So there is no interference of the outsiders, or there is no interference of the creditors and so on. Therefore, the liquidator also is appointed by the members, and no meeting of the creditors is held because it is an action taken by the members of the company, which is a voluntary winding up. So no inspection committee is also appointed here. So inspection committee is appointed in case of compulsory winding up. Therefore, as this is not a compulsory winding up, inspection committee is also not appointed. So in order to get the benefit from this type of winding up, a declaration of solvency must be filed and the reasons for voluntary winding up can be explained. Therefore, the declaration of solvency is must here. So section 305 provides that when it is proposed to wind up the company on a voluntary basis, the directors of the company at the meeting of the board, that is a board meeting, shall make a declaration and verify such a declaration by an affidavit that the company has no outstanding debts, or it will be able to pay its debts in full within the defined period. The defined period is not exceeding 3 years from the commencement of the winding up of the company. Therefore, members' voluntary winding up can happen with the declaration of solvency of the company. And such a declaration may be given within 5 weeks immediately preceding the date of passing the resolution for voluntary winding up by the members. And the declaration shall be delivered to the registrar before the due date. And it shall also accompany a copy of the auditor who has certified the accounts upon the profit and loss account and balance sheet prepared up to the date of declaration, and it must contain a statement showing the assets and liabilities of the company. Therefore, while making such declaration, the directors should see the reasonable grounds and make some inquiry before making such declarations, as it is liable for heavy penalties. If the debts are not paid, suppose if the debts are not paid within the given period, then the directors are liable for punishment. So the punishment can go for an imprisonment which may extend from 3 to 5 years, or with a fine, which may extend to rupees 3 lakhs, and the minimum fine here is 50,000, or sometimes the penalty will attract the imprisonment as well as fine. Therefore, the directors are required to exercise proper care before making such a statement in the process of winding up of the company, that is voluntary winding up by the members. Therefore, the voluntary winding up of the company by its members can take place only when the company is solvent and the process is initiated by the members and is completely managed by them, and the liquidator is also appointed by the members, and creditors meeting is not held. And once the voluntary winding up of the company by its members is resolved, then there are certain provisions that are supposed to be followed. For example, appointment of liquidator. So section 310 of the Companies Act explains the provisions relating to appointment of liquidator. So the appointment of liquidator shall happen in the general meeting, wherein one or more liquidators can be appointed for winding up of the company and for distributing the assets of the company. And in that meeting itself, the remuneration of the liquidators may also be fixed, and the responsibility of taking charge as liquidators may be drafted. And once the remuneration is fixed, the remuneration is not changed under any circumstances in future also. So the liquidator may be appointed according to the resolution for voluntary winding up which is passed. Therefore, first an important provision is appointment of liquidator, and second one is board's powers to seize. So section 313 of the Companies Act specifies that on appointment of a liquidator for winding up of the company, all the powers of the board and other managerial person shall come to an end except for the purpose of discharging the duties relating to the winding up process of the company. Earlier, before the passing of resolution for voluntary winding up, the board might have some powers, but after the passing the resolution for voluntary winding up, the board's power will cease. And even in case of passing the resolution and the powers of the board are to be seized, the employees are not dismissed all of a sudden. Therefore, the company is solvent here and the employees are not dismissed suddenly, but the company will continue its corporate powers and entity until it is finally dissolved. Then one more provision that is applicable in case of voluntary winding up by the members is power to fill vacancy in the office of liquidator. Sometimes it is possible where a vacancy occurs in the office of the liquidator of the company. Then such a vacancy shall be filled in the general meeting, subject to the agreement that has been made in the earlier general meeting, even with the creditors also. So the general meeting can be called by any person, that is members, contributors, or by any continuing liquidator. Suppose two liquidators are appointed and one liquidator has moved out. The another liquidator who is continuing in the company can call for a general meeting for the purpose of appointing one more person in the liquidator's office. Therefore, the provisions relating to section 311 shall be followed to fill the vacancy of a liquidator. Then notice of appointment of liquidator to the registrar is to be given. The company is supposed to give a notice to the registrar of the appointment of a liquidator. So the company shall give a notice to the registrar stating that so and so person or so and so firm is appointed as the liquidator to take up the process of voluntary winding up. And the company shall also give notice in case of the vacancy that has occurred in the office of liquidator, and the names of liquidators who have been appointed, or the vacancy which has been created, and the fresh liquidator who has been appointed. All these things along with names and details shall be communicated to the registrar of the companies, and notice shall be given to the register of companies in the appropriate format within the due time. All these essential provisions shall have to be followed, and the persons who is making default in communicating all these things will be liable for punishment, and the officers or the person who is responsible for this shall be punishable with a fine up to ₹1,000 for every day during which the default continues. For example, the default is made for 10 days, then ₹1,000 per day, that is ₹10,000 fine is imposed on the officer who has made a delay or who has shown some negligence in communicating the matter to the registrar. Therefore, the provisions of the company are highly essential and are supposed to be communicated. The duty of the liquidator to inform the assessing officer is also important. Every liquidator of a company that is supposed to be wound up is to give a notice of appointment of liquidator to the assessing officer having jurisdiction to assess the income of the company. So this is normally done within the period of 30 days after his appointment, and it is important to mention that official liquidator has been held to be the principal officer of the company for all income tax purposes, because the board's power sees the official liquidator is the person who is responsible for the purpose of making compliance to income tax laws. Therefore, it may be noted that official liquidator is the responsible person. Then one more provision relating to voluntary winding up by the members is the conduct of general meeting at the end of each year. The company liquidator is supposed to report the progress of winding up of the company, and if it is crossing the duration of one general meeting, then he shall call upon the meeting according to the provisions, and the members are supposed to attend the meeting to oversee the progress of winding up of the company, and the liquidator will explain the process and the progress of liquidation and the pending liquidation. If suppose the liquidator fails to comply with the provisions mentioned here, then he shall be punishable in respect of failure, which may extend for a fine which may extend up to rupees 10 lakhs. So for the negligence that has been shown by the official liquidator, he is liable to pay the fine which may go up to rupees 10 lakhs. Then one more provision that is there in case of voluntary winding up by the members is final meeting and dissolution of the company. When the affairs of the company are fully wound up, then the liquidator is supposed to perform few duties, like he shall prepare an account of winding up of the company and show how the amount has been collected by disposing the property of the company. It shall contain a statement showing how various assets have been realized and sold in the market, and what are the values that have been collected after disposing of the assets. And the liquidator is supposed to call for a general meeting to show the accounts to the owners of the company. And this meeting is supposed to be the final meeting of the company, and the meeting shall be called by giving a proper advertisement in the newspaper within a due time, specifying the time and place of the conduct of the final meeting, and the sufficient time that shall be given at the time of making an advertisement is normally 30 days. So if the final meeting is going to be conducted after 1 month, the advertisement shall be given today in the newspapers, so that the people who read can communicate, and it is given in the local newspaper where the registered office of the company is situated, and in the official gazette also it may be published. So failure to call such a meeting is also a punishable offence, and the fine may be extended up to rupees 1 lakh for showing some negligence. And the meeting shall be conducted, that is the final meeting, after giving the notice. And within 1 week after the completion of such meeting, the liquidator shall send a copy of the account to the registrar and the official liquidator, and also a return of the holding of the meeting and the date thereof. So all such details shall be mentioned, and the copy is to be forwarded to the registrar and the official liquidator. And if such copy is not sent or ignored, then the liquidator is also liable to be punished with a fine which may extend to rupees 1 lakh. If suppose the quorum is not present in the final meeting, the liquidator shall make a return that the meeting was duly called upon and there was no quorum. Hence, the registrar, on receiving the accounts and either of the returns, shall forthwith register the same, and the official liquidator, on receipt of the account and the return, is required to make a scrutiny of the books and papers of the company. Therefore, the work of liquidation in case of members voluntary winding up is to be taken up scrupulously, and the official liquidator shall send a report of scrutiny to the tribunal. And if the report shows that affairs of the company have been conducted in the manner which are prejudicial to the interest of the members or public interests, sometimes it may cause some detriment to the public interest, then the tribunal shall, by order, direct the official liquidator to go into details and make further investigation of the affairs of the company. With some companies, this may happen, that the affairs or functioning of the company may go against the public policy. Then in such a case, the tribunal shall order for a detailed inquiry by the official liquidator. So for this purpose, the tribunal shall invest him with all such powers as it may deem fit for the purpose of conducting an investigation and submission of the report. And finally, it comes to the dissolution of a company. So the dissolution of a company implies that the existence of a company has come to an end, and a dissolved company cannot hold any property, or be sued in tribunal of law. So any property still remaining shall vest in the government on dissolution. So this is how the members voluntary winding up of a company will proceed together, and the activities are taken up continuously. Now let us see the voluntary winding up of the company by the creditors. So this is a situation wherein the company is not in a position to make statutory declaration of solvency. So in other words, the directors are not in a position to make the statutory declaration of solvency position of the company. Therefore, the winding up is a creditor's voluntary winding up. The provisions of creditor's voluntary winding up are similar to those which are applicable to voluntary winding up that is being taken up by the members, except that the creditors appoint the liquidator here. In the members voluntary winding up, it is the members who will initiate the process of voluntary winding up. Opposite to that, creditors voluntary winding up is initiated by the creditors, and creditors will appoint the liquidator here, and the remuneration that is payable to the liquidator is also fixed by the creditors, and There are some special provisions that are applicable in case of voluntary winding up by the creditors. So we have observed that in case of members voluntary winding up, no meeting is convened with the creditors. But here in this case, in case of creditors voluntary winding up, meeting of creditors is convened because the declaration of solvency is not made by the directors. The creditors are bothered about the solvency and collection of the amount that is supposed to be received by them. Therefore, a meeting of creditors is called upon. And notice of meeting of creditors shall be posted to the creditors simultaneously with a notice of meeting of the company. So the notice calling the meeting of creditors shall be advertised normally in the Gazette, official Gazette, and at least in 2 newspapers circulating in the area or district where the registered office of the company is located. And the board of directors shall lay before the meeting of creditors a full statement of position of the company's affairs. A full statement of the company's affairs with the detailed list of creditors and the amounts that are due to them. And normally one of the directors must preside at this meeting. If the meeting of the company at which the resolution for voluntary winding up is to be proposed is adjourned and the resolution is passed at an adjourned meeting, any resolution passed at that meeting of creditors shall have effect. And after passing the resolution of the winding of the company, immediately it will come into effect. So on a total basis, it can be understood that it is a process initiated by the creditors and meeting of creditors can be conducted as specified by the provisions of section 306. And one more important provision is notice to registrar. The company shall give a notice to the registrar explaining the resolution passed at the creditors meeting for voluntary winding up by the company within 10 days of its passing. And one more provision is appointment of liquidator. As discussed earlier, the creditors will appoint the liquidator here. Then one more important provision here is committee of inspection. The creditors at their meeting can appoint a committee of inspection consisting of not more than 5 persons. And such committee will try to resolve the problems related to the voluntary winding up of the company, and the tribunal may appoint any other persons in place of some other persons who are objected to in the committee of inspection. Then liquidator's remuneration is also fixed. Then powers of board are to be seized, it is understood, and a meeting is conducted, that is the final meeting, and the company is dissolved here. So this is how the creditors voluntary winding up will go on. Now we have a slide which will show the difference between members voluntary winding up and creditors voluntary winding up. So all these points are discussed. So let us have a brief point of distinction. Solvency is declared in case of members voluntary winding up but not declared in case of creditors winding up. Then creditors meeting. Creditors meeting is not conducted in case of members voluntary winding up, but creditors winding up is conducted in case of creditors voluntary winding up. Then appointment of liquidator is done by members in case of voluntary winding up by the members, and is done by the creditors in case of voluntary winding up by the creditors. Then committee of inspection is not required in case of voluntary winding up by the members, but it is required in case of creditors voluntary winding up. Then role of members and creditors will be different. In case of members voluntary winding up, the role of members will be more, and in case of voluntary winding up by the creditors, the role of creditors will be more. Therefore, the appointment of liquidator in voluntary winding up, so where members voluntary winding up is taken up, liquidator is appointed by the members, and where creditors voluntary winding up is happening, the appointment of liquidator is done by the creditors. Therefore, the remuneration is also fixed by the appointing authority over there. This is how the voluntary winding up of the company will go on. Thank you.